All right, we are back with the Fantasy Mountain Bike Show with your host Andrew Neethling. Almost said your name wrong, buddy. And just want to say a quick thank you to our show sponsor and our race week sponsor this week, which was Marin Bikes. They gave a merch voucher away to our winner, who was Corey Norris Jones. We're also going to work on, we are leaving the Invisiframe offer code up as well for another 10 days from when this episode goes out. So if you enter the code The Race Companion, you can still bag yourself a whopping 15% off anything from invisiframe.co.uk. And on that note, I guess I will welcome the actual host of this show, Andrew Neethling.
Cheers,
All
cheers,
right.
Davey. Yeah, no, I'm excited. Always good to have a co-host. It's been quite an interesting kind of challenge doing solo podcasting. I haven't really done many of them, even though obviously if I have a podcast, I'm not scared of chatting.
Yeah.
But speaking of scary, I think this race in Leogang looked pretty damn scary. The speeds.
That's a lovely
So
segue, buddy.
It's a good segue, right?
It's a good segue. That's a great segue. You learn from the best with that one.
Yeah, mate. So I think we just jump straight in. It's been awesome.
Please.
Playing the fantasy. We'll get to my picks at the end, which I'm just blaming unlucky circumstances, really. Picking great teams, getting unlucky. So, but I'm getting schooled in the leaderboard. But who didn't need any luck?
I thought about this, Andrew. I feel like if you work on the platform, you host the show, or like me, obviously have helped build it, you don't want to be at the top because people will be, oh, it's a scam, it's this, it's that. If I was taking all the prizes every week, dude, people would be asking questions. So I'm taking the approach of trying to stay around the 1,000 mark. That seems to be where I need to be.
Speaking of that, what about the guy that scored 0 points after 2 rounds? Was that fact checked?
There's a few people on there that have scored 0, and I'm not entirely sure how it's possible. So
yeah, I don't want to win it, but I do want to be up there. Like a top 10 type of run, like backdoor top 10 would be good, just to prove some of what I'm spitting out here. Looking at a very fragile crystal ball, because that's downhill racing. But speaking of who didn't need luck, who doesn't need any luck, who is riding on pure talent and skill and just incredible momentum. I think the word of the week might be momentum, with Gracie Hemstreet winning the ladies and Jackson Goldstone. So another 2 for Canada there, and they went back to back. So it shows what momentum, and that will build then your confidence. Now we obviously speak about confidence and how do you get it? How do you ball it up? Well, go and win a race. You'll surely be confident the next race, and that showed. So in the ladies, Gracie Hemstreet. But she was, narrowly squeaked out Anna Newkirk, who I did speak about in my pre-show, I hope, and think I did. Valley Hall, I thought would do well. She's won there twice the years past, so she was going for a three-peat. Wasn't quite to be, but she's had a bit of a lackluster start to the season, I think, by her accounts as well. She's dealing with a lot of different things personally, as well as growing up. She was mentioning things, so I think she's somewhat satisfied, not happy, but satisfied. And then Marine Cabarrou bouncing back from a huge crash in Lunenville. So that's great to see. You never want to see these crashes, but it's great when they bounce back quickly. Jess Blewett, who in our pre-show I was saying is going to be sort of the next breakout. When's she going to win? So that's great to see that she hasn't had the greatest start, but she's got all the talent in the world, all the expectation from a big factory team of Cube, Red Bull helmet, all those. So it was nice to see her in 5th. Now the men, we just mentioned it, Jackson Goldstone. What an exciting run. Like, if you're talking about flair, talent, skill, I mean, he barely touches the ground halfway down. Plus, he's doing the most insane sort of downside unturned down into the wall ride at warp speed. And he absolutely cleaned house in sector 2. We must maybe speak about the wind. He narrowly pimped out Loic Bruni. So I mentioned Loic would bounce back from Ludenville, which he did. And then a standout ride is Henry Kiefer, probably for the whole week. I mean, who would have picked him to get into 3rd there? Obviously, he had that interesting controversy in the start gate at the previous round, but he got his first podium, like legit podium, or shall we call it new school podium. and only 0.5 back. So he's put in a lot of work. You can see how emotional he was. And then old school, legit podium, Lockie Stevens McNabb, I called that. And then Laurie Green. And I think one of the most exciting things just to see with this new format, we sometimes not seeing the guys we want to see in the finals or we expect to see. And Laurie Green and in fifth. I love seeing that.
Yeah. You feel like this as well after now 3 rounds, it's people starting to figure out this Q1, Q2 thing a little bit better. And then, like you say, you've got Henry, you've got Lackey back up there, Laurie, who we've not really seen on a podium for quite some time. Do you think that could be a little bit of what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, some of these riders had to find their feet with this format. I know some of the comments said, well, why wouldn't you ride 100%? Well, it doesn't work like that. 100%, you can plan for a race run at 100%, but when you have nerves, when you have things in the back of your mind, like missing, the finals, the last 2 races, I mean, you're going to ride a little bit tighter. You're going to try to give you 100%, but to ride free and carefree is a fine art to find. And that's what we're seeing with Jackson now, apparently mixing on his turntables before finals. Like that's his way of keeping just free. That's his relaxed way of focused. And Laurie Green is, I think, feeding off that. See, you know what? Maybe I can be a bit more carefree. And then as far as you said on the strategy, I mean, I think the riders that thought maybe in years past, definitely top riders could have mailed it in at 90, 95%, no problem, get a 12th off to the finals, stress-free. You have a chilled run now, and you have a minute mistake, especially a track like Leogang that's sort of within reason one-line-ish, within reason simple. It's hard, difficult to go fast, but not difficult for the top riders in the world to ride down. You're going to miss out on Q1. So you're basically, what I'm seeing at a track like that, you're doing best of 2 runs. You're throwing down, hoping to make it through in Q1. And if not, off you go to Q2, and then the stress starts building. And we've got 6 former winners in Q2. It's interesting. The sport's evolving. Times are tight. Tracks are getting faster. Yeah, I mean, we'll unpack it probably in my podcast a little more than we do here,
Yeah, you've got that coming out as well right after this one, I think. So as soon as that's up, we'll share it. But the links will be in the show description if you want to take a real deep dive into Leogang and what's been going on so far. So yeah, for sure. Okay, excellent, mate. I think for me that standout ride had to be Henry Kiefer, like you say, especially coming back from Umbrella Gate, starting the time in what do you call it, gate, and I don't know. I guess for me personally, I'm not a massive crazy race fan like yourself and probably a lot of people watching and listening to this, but Henry Kiefer really wasn't a name that was on my radar. When I was looking at building out my team for the year, I'll be honest, I wouldn't have even looked at Henry Kiefer. And after the Umbrella Gate, I was like, oh, that sucks, all good. We'll see him next round and hopefully he gets whatever, a top 10, top 15, I'm not sure. But to see him on a podium was mind-blowing. I mean, yeah, what a comeback. And whatever that Umbrella did or does, I think, keep the umbrella in the pits.
I think they took it up on the team podium, didn't they? So I mean, if you follow it, I obviously talk about the juniors here and there, and it's just an incredible crop to see them. But if you followed his junior career, he's got the speed, you got the talent, but then you've got to get into the elite ranks, and some riders are taking longer than others. Not everyone's Jordan Williams, not everyone's Jackson Goldstone. But just to see the work he's put in, he said he drove 6,000 or 9,000 kilometers over 6 weeks, just going to all these different bike parks, riding. He had his dad there. Just to see the pure emotion to get on a podium, just to see that's almost like a body of work that just comes out there. It's a cool relief. So we'll see if we can build on that. But I think controversies this week, there were less of them, which is good. Besides the crashes, that to me is a bit of a controversy. So the track builders did a great job adjusting some of the lips when they saw the tailwinds and the speed these riders were going. So that's great. So props to Warner Brothers, props to the race organizers. You're not going to get everything perfect. Yes, tracks are fast, but then you add a tailwind on the motorway. Yeah, this track is just, unfortunately, over the years, there's more bike park use. There's more gravel that get brought in. Like when I first raced there, I had a crash on the motorway, but it was kind of funny because it was still dirt. It was soft. It was muddy. I got cross-rutted. So that means the dirt's really soft. Landed in a cow fence that was still switched on upside down in a rainy field. So that's why I'm here talking about racing and not still racing. You know, I've got past that.
Wow.
So yeah, you know, Nina going out of the wall ride it's a racing incident. She did seem like she planned to jump onto it, but with a different angle and the G forces, she just got popped out the top. So healing vibes to her, but it sounds like she's going to be all right. But Nathan Pontvion, seemingly before the jumps got shaved off, and just you're asking these questions of the riders, like to go as fast as they humanly can on the course that's laid out in front of him. You can't tell them to break. You like they are breaking, or they, you know, if you misjudge those by like the smallest margin, these are the crashes we're going to see. So I would hope that they take that on board and try slow it down within reason. Like I still think technical
I mean, what were
courses,
riders touching down there? It's like 60 kilometers an hour.
65-ish, you know, like,
Hey,
for
I
sure.
actually went on my e-bike yesterday and was cruising down a hill, and obviously the speedo is showing you how fast you're going, and it was about 40 miles an hour, and I'm thinking, wow, this is fast. You know, imagine being in tapes and trying to squat jumps, and woo, that's
And
quick.
also, like, what do you want to see? Like, speed is cool and it looks cool, but you tell me, when you're watching all the riders, it's quite hard to differentiate who's going faster. Like, when the
Yeah.
times are so tight and speeds are so fast, it's really tough to spot the differences. But when you get a super techie track with multiple lines, I don't know, is it not sometimes more exciting for the viewer to see those
Mm-hmm.
creative lines, to see the difference in speed? Because you will see a little bit, like, on anyone's eye, not even the trained eye, will see a bit of a difference.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and it's cool to see someone scrub a jump once or twice, but when it's a whole section of a track which seemingly goes on forever, you're just like, okay, we're seeing it. Let's get
Yeah.
into some trees. But yeah, like you said, man, the crashes that someone else ejected out of the wall ride a few years ago, I think, but I can't quite remember who it was. Do you
Yeah,
remember?
Ben Cather did reference him the
That's
previous
yeah,
year. Yeah, and he
yeah.
got more lucky because he kind of jumped out the top and kept the front wheel up. So he kind of landed on two wheels and then exploded. But Nina got a bit more
Mm,
bucked. So it was horrible to see. But she kind of was seemingly all smiles after knocking her head
mm.
afterwards, at least on the ground. And then reports are, you know, nothing is too hectic. But yeah, healing vibes to her and Nathan. Like, that's horrible. And yeah, selfishly was on my team. So he's been on a tear this year, and it just sucks to see it.
Yeah, and he's out for a little while, I think, as well, right? It's a couple of actual injuries in there.
I would think so. I haven't quite seen if they've announced any of that, but I'll
Yeah, I'm not
check
sure. I saw
now.
him in a hospital bed, so
No, it
it's
looks
kind of
horrible. Yeah.
sucks, doesn't it?
Yeah.
As far as controversies go, I'll segue us into this next one, and I'm not too sure if it's a controversy or not, but I have to get these thoughts out, and you're the first person I'm going to talk to properly about it. So, Ken Roczen in the booth at Leogang. Okay, when I saw that Kenny, there's been a bit of a build up here, right? He did Gypsy Tales podcast a while ago, talked about World Cup downhill, how he'd love to try one day. So that he's already, Kenny's quite embedded in the mountain bike scene already. I think he rides for Canyon. He's actually got a signature bike, which I think is pretty cool, especially for a supercross motocross athlete. That's really cool. What a great activation for Canyon. I am 100% all in on Ken Roczen being involved in mountain biking. It's sick. So then I saw he was at Leogang, and I'm on social media. Canyon are talking about it. Riders are getting photos. I'm like, this is so sick. This is so sick. I mean, Ken's a mega star as far as two-wheel sport goes. Anyway, seeing that, oh, really cool. What a great activation for Canyon. What a great thing for the sport. All good. I turn on the broadcast. Ken's in the booth. I posted on Instagram, dude. I'm like, oh, this is so cool. Amazing. Great activation. Then Ken stayed in the booth. He stayed a bit longer. And then he stayed to the end. And at that point, throughout the broadcast, I was kind of rethinking my Stoke levels. I'm thinking, yeah, it was good. Like, come and share a little bit of the similarities between the sport, talk about the athletes that you know, your riding experience, all that good stuff. It's so cool. But then I thought, okay, the whole broadcast, though, it kind of seemed to throw the broadcast team off a little bit. I feel like it was a bit of a, and I might be off on this. It felt like it was a bit of a, oh my God, there's someone famous here. Let's just get him in the booth, get some more attention on this thing. And it's really made me think about this would never happen the other way around. I don't think. You'd never get Jackson going to a supercross. Yeah, it'd be sick, dude. They get 5 minutes to on the broadcast talk about downhill. So cool. What a great thing for the sport and for everybody. But you'd never have them sat there for the entire broadcast commentating on a sport that I think even he admitted was the first one he'd ever been to. It's kind of like,
enough.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
it really got me thinking about how many celebrities, whatever, go to, the Super Bowl. How many celebrities go to the Super Bowl? They don't just go, we've got Brad Pitt in the audience. Let's get him to commentate on the game. That'd be like so crazy.
No, it's a fair point. I think it's a huge win that he went to the race, especially after 100%. Going with Jace on Gypsy Tales. Obviously, you've probably chatted to him a little bit. And as we all know, the internet blew it up for good reason. It was out of context. So even Ken admitted that, right? Like he just wants to ride. He wants to stay an athlete. Like, does he want to do World Cup downhill? I don't know. I think he still needs to ride a World Cup track. He knows.
I don't think he's ever ridden a downhill bike still.
It's not. Yeah. So, and he wanted to ride more there, but he's got this injury. So, number one, it's a huge win that he wants to be at a mountain bike race. Number two, they got a lot of experience. They do a lot of training, a lot of road bike miles. He does a lot of mountain biking. It's great that he's there. It's cool that it was Ken. Like he is so down to earth, roaming around the pits, doing little fake like Instagrams where he's like shaking Gabe's hand from Canyon as if he's like signing a deal, like on like the bullshit that the internet went on that he's going to come and become the next Aaron Gwynn. Like, I don't know. I don't think even he knows what he wants to do. He just wants to maybe focus on something that gets him out of bed that's not motocross when he retires, right? As far as the booth goes, like I think the pre-show or post-show is like incredible. It like that is good marketing. So props to Warner Brothers. From what I heard, Nico Malele, who's been in the booth, and he's finding his feet in the booth, right? And then they've kept Josh in there as well. So number one, 3 people in a booth is always a challenge. Ask Warner, ask anyone. Like it doesn't get done that much. So it's already a challenge. Then you got Kenny coming in there because I also was not knowing who the voice was. I was expecting Nico, Josh, if he's around, and then obviously Rick. Then Kenny was in the booth. I was like, okay, I see what they're doing there. And then, like you said, I think it wasn't planned to stay that long. But sometimes if it's going okay, I don't know, I'm not there. The producers might say, well, Nico's already not in the booth. Let's just, leave him out. So from what I heard, it wasn't meant to be the whole broadcast. It was meant to maybe be 5 riders. Or I think it needs to be in the break, like between...
Totally, dude.
Like before the top 10 comes, activation. Like for 3 minutes, like, we got Kenny here. We even snuck him in the booth. And then we get back to racing because Kenny he's so professional. He did a great job of staying out the way, though. When he was asked, he chatted about it. But sometimes I would do the same. I'd ask him about motocross and the similarities, and that's going to overrun into, I think, even like a Loic run. So that's a bit of a challenge, like a disservice to Loic in general. And I'm not knocking anyone. Like, it happened.
No,
it happened. Might talk over like you say, if you were in there.
Yeah,
of course. So I think it's like a huge win, and it wasn't planned to be the whole broadcast, and it was the whole broadcast. But, him being at the race, crossing over into motocross, and it sounds like those guys do follow it. We know they do. We've seen like Dean Wilson up at Big Bear riding downhill. Like, champions respect champions. Like they can see how much work and effort it goes into to winning races. So I think it's cool to have him there. Should he have been in the booth the whole time? I guess one could say maybe not the whole time, but it wasn't planned. So sometimes you just wing it.
Totally. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think it's more got me thinking about would it go the other way? I think that's the important thing.
No,
it would never go that way.
Chance.
No, it would never ever happen. So, and I think, good luck, bad luck. I don't know, but
I think props, like, there's been a lot of hate out there. I think props to Warner Brothers. Like, they're trying to be inventive, creative, and go a little bit, what is it called? Non-endemic media? Have I said the correct words there? I have a habit of not always using the right words combined. So I think that's cool. And hopefully we get him back at another one. So, and maybe some other guys.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm not sure. Yeah, who knows, mate? Who knows? We'll see. Hopefully we see Kenny in the tapes one day as well. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
All right. The perfect team. We actually do not have this data yet. Let me check. I was waiting for it to come through, so we might have to wait. Wait for that one. We'll post that on social media. We do not have the perfect team data yet, but we will have it, and it will go up on the website. Okay. Do you want to go through the winners and losers?
Let's do it. So we're going to go through the global league standings here on our fantasy. Now, round one winner, Baggy, is back from 15th up to 3rd. So bounce back, almost as good as Loic there. So someone's getting pretty good at this game. Round 2 winner.
Could it be Loic?
And global league leader into Leogang, Wardy, 1990. He slips to 2nd place. So it's pretty solid going. Corey Norris Jones, last weekend 2nd place finishes, current global league leader. Well done. And seemingly has come from nowhere. Boom. So there you have it. Corey Norris Jones with 3,310 points. Won a Marin Bikes merch voucher. That's pretty cool. Second, what did we call? So I haven't been good with these names. Wardy.
Hey. Oh, I love it. To me, that's Wardy.
This one I can pronounce. 3rd is Baggy. Where's Big Nick D-I-C-K? he's slipped down the points.
Slipped down a little bit.
He's gone a bit soft. No, he's a bit placid. And 4th is this one I can never do. Vanessa. Okay.
Who knows?
And then 5th. This is getting worse. Doofy Dave with 3,120 points. The top performing team was Canyon Collective. So Henry Kiefer, Marine was big help there. Troy slipped into the podium as well. Most picked rider, Jackson Goldstone. Jeez, you guys like spending money. Good for you. Most valuable rider, Anna Newkirk. No surprise there. Oh, I didn't have on my team. That's a stinger. All right, so who did I pick? So Tony Seagrave, not bad.
Not bad.
I've been betting on Lochy the whole year, and I kept him in there for good measure. He got 4th.
Same. Yep.
Hattie Harden, not ideal. Here's another one that has been unlucky again, but I kept him. Benoit Coulange. He was on pace till he did, unfortunately, a circus move down the bottom. So hopefully there's a meme that he brings out. So he was on pace. Nathan Pontvion, unlucky crash. And Loic Bruni. So I think in hindsight, before the race, you would argue it was a decent pick.
Yeah, hindsight, you're all or nothing, basically.
Hindsight is a perfect science. Yeah.
It is.
I'm not doing too bad, though. You tell me. How many people
Whereabouts
are
you
in the league?
It's a great question and one that I will be able to tell you right now.
Yeah, View League.
So in the global
I'm
league,
here as well. So
we got 1,507 people.
And I'm in 320 spots. So that's not bad. The top.
That's not bad.
3rd, top quarter actually.
Yeah. You're just outside quali.
Right, I need to step it up. I've missed a few. I've gone into Q2 once or twice, and I've clearly missed the finals. But I'll get back.
You're doing way better than me. I'm 1,000 positions back from you. But hey, I don't want to look like I'm sandbagging, so I'm just sat there, just chilling, dude. I'm happy where I am. Amazing. All right, what we got up next, dude? Where are we at?
Well, if memory serves me correct, we've got Val de Sol coming up, so that's a man's track and a woman's track, the way the women are riding. So expect to see more lines, expect to see a bit of more time differential between the riders. If it rains, it's miserable, but that's where Anne-Marie just burst back and just annihilated the field. So I think they got a weekend off, right? I think it's in 10 days' time. So 1 weekend off, which some of the riders are going to need. Teams as well, they've been back-to-back. So that's going to be exciting. We won't see Aaron Gwyn there, I don't think, from the way he's built his schedule. You obviously won't see Nathan Pontfilm. I don't think you'll see Nina. There's a few others. You need to keep an eye on the riders' Instagrams. It's quite tricky because there's been a lot of crashes just to see who's going to bounce back, who's not. And maybe a shout out to Dakota Norton. He's already back riding and in a start gate at a World Cup after that horrendous hip injury. Got 34th technically. Missed out on the finals by 4 positions. So is he going to have strength to get himself into the finals? I don't think he's a very cheap rider considering his year rank from last year. For fantasy, it's a tough one, but for me personally, it's nice to see.
Okay. Amazing, mate. Love your analysis, love your insights, love your takes. always good to sit down and riff one of these out. Nice and short, super sweet. You've got the long form episode of Moving the Needle coming out, which will be on all audio and YouTube platform. We'll put a link to that in the show description if you want to take a deeper dive. I cannot recommend that podcast enough. It is one of my favorites. And massive thank you, obviously, to Marin for supporting this week's race. Again, we gave away £100 worth of merch, which is pretty cool. And Invisiframe, if you're doing a lock-in, a discount on Invisiframe, use the code The Race Companion, which will get you 15% off. It doesn't have to be a brand new bike either. I learned that recently. You can actually Invisiframe an old bike and make it look like new, refresh and ride. And that's it, and that's that. Thank you, Andrew. We will see you for the pre-race show for Val di Sole in a week and a bit's time.
Peace out, race fans. Till the next one.
Oh, I like that. Peace out, race fans. That's nice, dude. Peace out, race fans.